Greenhouse gases are causing global warming. We are pumping huge amounts of carbon dioxide into the environment. We should stop emitting carbon dioxide.
Very little of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide. Only 2% of the atmosphere is made of greenhouse gases such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. Only 3.6% of that 2% is carbon dioxide. And only 3.4% of that carbon dioxide is attributed to human activity. That is only 0.2% of the atmosphere.
But Americans should do what we can to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide we put into the atmosphere.
The numbers I gave you are for everybody on the planet. About 22% of the worldwide human-caused carbon dioxide is caused by Americans. This is about 0.7% of all carbon dioxide.
But Americans should do things like sign on to the Kyoto Protocol and cap and trade so that we can at least reduce our share of carbon dioxide output.
It is generally thought that a 15% reduction in carbon dioxide would occur as a result of the cap and trade and other policies sought by Democrats in the Obama administration. Therefore, the part of the atmosphere that can be affected by cap and trade is 0.08%. This means the cap and trade reductions would only reduce human-caused carbon dioxide emissions by 1%. This seems like a lot of new energy economy money spent on windmills and solar panels for very little return.
We have to start somewhere.
I don't think you are appreciating the cost-benefit problem. Let me try to make it clearer. Imagine that a 55-gallon keg of beer represents the entire atmosphere. Using the greenhouse gas numbers, about 40 ounces represents all the greenhouse gases. About 1½ ounces, or 1 shot, is all of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Less than 1/3 of a teaspoon is contributed by humans. 22% of that 1/3 of a teaspoon is contributed by Americans. And of that 1/5 of 1/3 of 1 teaspoon, a little less than a drip from an eyedropper can be reduced by the proposed cap and trade policies. Is a keg of beer so fragile that one drip would lead to catastrophe?
The atmosphere is not a keg of beer. And if you put poison in my beer, that would be bad.
But in our example, we already have a whole shot of what you are calling poison in the keg. Carbon dioxide is not a poison, it is needed for life on Earth.
But the EPA has called carbon dioxide a pollutant.
Nothing would grow on this planet without carbon dioxide. Since the EPA is calling that life-giving gas a pollutant, will water be next? Especially since water vapor is a greenhouse gas too.
That is dumb. They would never do that.
Is the Earth so fragile that a 0.1% reduction in carbon dioxide will stave off catastrophe?
We could reach a tipping point.
The sun is a much bigger contributor to global warming and larger swings have occurred in the past before humans were around. Why didn't the Earth hit the tipping point then?
I don't know. But Al Gore said that polar bears were suffering because of global warming.
So even if we implement all these debt-raising, economy-crushing, price-raising ideas, we can only change the amount of carbon dioxide by 0.1%. The level of carbon dioxide on the planet will essentially remain unchanged while we wreck economies. Why do you want to do all of this green economy stuff when it will not change the one thing you want to change?
Environmentalists say we should do it to save the Earth.
Could there be another reason? Could this new energy economy help big business types like Al Gore to make billions while you and I will pay twice as much for electricity, not to mention gas, propane, oil, and any product delivered in a truck, train, boat or aircraft powered by big oil, because the regulation and restrictions on drilling will cause prices to rise?
We should use renewable fuels to power our vehicles. This will help the environment.
If greenhouse gas emission is really the question, then nuclear power is the answer.
Nuclear is scary. We don't have a way to handle the waste.
France and the US Navy have figured it out. Apparently, it is only our president who isn't aware of any way to handle the waste.
He just wants to make sure we are safe.
But we already have safe ways to deal with it. Do you think he hasn't heard about those ways? Or does he just want to push a political agenda for his cronies and special interests?
Only the right has special interests.
If Dick Cheney was saying that by 2035 we should be 80% dependent on a particular energy product, wouldn't you be a bit suspicious?
Obama is good. He is doing this for our good. Dick Cheney is bad and had the special interest called Big Oil.
And Obama has greenhouse gas.